First of all, our purpose at Catholic Charities is to animate the gospel of Jesus Christ by putting love into action. And I feel like we do that every single day, answering Jesus's call in Matthew's gospel, which is the corporal works of mercy. And just even if you think about what we're talking about with transportation here, we're talking about feeding the hungry. We're talking about welcoming the stranger and the refugee. We're talking about sheltering the homeless in the at Shalom house. So I think we do that every single day by just trying to do those basic corporal works of mercy and really meeting people where they are and loving them for who they are without judging them. Transportation is the #1 barrier that we see. I can't give you an exact number of people, but I can tell you it is the #1 barrier to employment and long-term self-sufficiency. The refugee program and warehouse, we are looking for transits or something. For the warehouse would have no seats in it. It would just be used to transport cargo. But the one that we would use for refugees obviously would be to transport people. But we would want to maximize and be able to fit as many people without having to have a CDL license. Do a shout out to St. Michael the Archangel, because 5 years ago, you guys raised money at Defender's Ball and helped us purchase this. At Catholic Charities of Northeast Kansas, we have 8 food pantries. And this distribution center has allowed us to increase the amount of food that we bring in from food drives. But then what we can do is we bring them here to the warehouse, we sort them, and then we're able to distribute them out to every single one of our food pantries. And we're able to get them the food what food they actually need. If we received more money than we needed for the purchase of vehicles, one of the things we would love to do is set up what we would call maybe a transportation fund, because people either A, don't have a car, and relying on public transportation, especially in Johnson County, is very difficult. And then the second one would be they have a car, but it breaks down or gets a flat tire and they just don't have the ability to pay to fix it. And the third thing we see frequently is people, especially we see this in refugees, but they don't have a driver's license. And so to pay for them to get a driver's license or to pay for driver's education so that they could then go on to get their driver's license. And again, it helps them become more self-sufficient. A couple of years ago in our St. Rita program, we had a young mom. She had 3 young children. Her husband had a full-time job. She did not know how to drive. So that presented a barrier for her. It was difficult for her to get to school. It was difficult for her to get her children. She had to get children to daycare if her husband had to be in really early. And finally, when she got a job, how was she going to get there? And so we worked with her to get her driver's license. And actually, we had staff filling in, going and picking up her kids, taking them to daycare. So when she got her driver's license, she said that it was just this newfound independence and this ability that she felt so much more confident in herself and so much more able to move forward in her life. Someone who came to us and they couldn't get to their job because their car broke down. We don't really have any money to help people do car repairs, nor does very many other social service agencies in the area. And so this is a need to be able to, so that people can stay employed or get to other things that are important for them. And an example of this was recently, we had a young mom. She lived at home and she depended on her parents for transportation because her car was broken down and she had no money to fix it, and she was depending on her family for transportation. But it wasn't the best living situation for her, and it was making it complicated for her to even consider giving up her child for adoption because of some family situations. So one of the things we did was we did find some money. We repaired her car. She moved out into her own place. She was able to get to and from work and to and from doctor's appointments on her own without depending on her family. And then she was able to make the best decision for her and her child.